Alright, guys, today we are going to be looking at some extreme fire conditions in Kansas, Texas, and we are also going to be looking at a potential thunderstorm outlook for Arkansas and Oklahoma. So let's go ahead and begin. Let's go ahead and start off right here. This is the Storm Prediction Center website. This is where you can look at some thunderstorm outlooks, the severe weather outlooks, and fire weather outlooks. And we are currently looking at the fire weather outlook. So as you can see, we have an extreme risk of significant fires that are possible in Kansas, and we also have a critical risk for Texas and more places around Kansas, and Hastings, Nebraska. So whoever lives in Garden City, Dodge City, Liberal, Hayes, and Great Bend, keep an eye out for some very extreme fires, especially some significant ones, because if we look at the extreme risk, you can see these little lines right here around the circle, and that means there is a potential significant fire weather outlook. So, and the places that are in the red, be on the lookout for critical ones. So, and if we look at the day 1 outlook, it's not that bad, just a small critical risk for Texas and Kansas, So, and if we look at the day 3 outlook, let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. You can see the predictability is too low, so, Anyways, let's go back. Let's go ahead and look at the thunderstorm outlook that was issued 53 minutes ago. As you can see, it's not that crazy, not too bad. There's just a potentiality of a 10% risk of thunderstorms in the southern Florida area, such as Miami and Melbourne. So pretty much some scattered thunderstorms in Florida. If we look at the next day, you can see that this one is moving into California and Oregon, and down here, it's pretty much the same. Miami, Melbourne. So, and if we look at this one, you can see that there is a new one, and it's quite medium-sized. It's in quite a few places around. We got Oklahoma City, Norman, Kansas City, Lincoln, Omaha, Des Moines, Norfolk, Valentine, and Pierre, and just some places around Iowa and Oklahoma, and a little bit of Missouri and Nebraska. So the people that are living in this brown area, be on the lookout for some possible scattered thunderstorms. And same for over here, as well as over here, in this bottom right corner. Now let's go ahead and go back and look at the convective outlook. So for day 1, there's a big green TSTM. It's not too crazy, because obviously the probability is low. However, if we look at the day 2 outlook, it's really, look at this. We have a slight risk of severe weather in the Storm Prediction Center for Rochester, Minnesota, Waterloo, Iowa, Ames, Lakeville, and Apple Valley. So whoever lives in the yellow, be prepared for some severe weather. So, and the people that are living in the green, be on the lookout for some thunderstorms and stuff. And if we look at the tornado risk, you can see that there's a 5% chance of tornadoes for Rochester, Waterloo, Ames, Lakeville, and Cedar Falls. So yeah, and the people that are in the 2%, not too crazy, just some small tornadoes and stuff. The wind, we have some pretty high winds for Minnesota, Iowa, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. Well, yeah, for the brown, we have Kansas City, Missouri, Omaha, Nebraska, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Minneapolis, and St. Paul. And for the yellow, we have Rochester, Waterloo, just the same areas. And the hail outlook, less than 5%. So there's no hail for this thunderstorm. However, there is some tornadoes and wind. So, yeah. And for the day 3 outlook, we have a marginal risk for Memphis, Shreveport, Little Rock, Tyler, and Longview. And if we look at the probabilistic, it's a 5% risk. Now, the day 3 is not like the day 2 and day 1 where you can look at the tornado, wind, and hail. The day 3 one is just the probabilistic. And if we look at the day 4 through 8, we have a 2 low for day 4, day 5, day 6, and day 7, and day 8. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. And if we go over to the Tropical Tidbits website, and if we look at the satellite imagery, or the forecast models, you can see that we have some very heavy snow in the west coast of Nevada. Just a little bit of Nevada in there. And it's going to be pushing east towards Colorado, Utah, and then it's going to move north into Minnesota and Iowa. And this is a 977 low pressure millibar system. You can see on the left we have heavy snow, and on the right we have some heavy rain. And that's where our slight risk is going to be coming into play because of this heavy rain right here in the northern central area. So if we move this forward, you can see it moves out into Quebec, Canada, and then we have this another system right here. We have this little boundary right here into Tennessee and Kentucky, and pretty much almost heading into the east. Well, pretty much the east. And you can see there's a little bit of snow that kind of like hits the heavy rain and then combines into a mixed precipitation, and this turns into a 1009 low pressure millibar system. So yeah, so we have some very heavy rain right here into the south, and we might be so this is where our marginal risk is here for the day 3 outlook because of this. And yeah. So, and also, let's go ahead and move back because I did see something. You see this? We have some rain and stuff, and yeah. Hold on, I messed something. So we have some rain, and we have some mixed precipitation and some snow into New York, and yeah. So just some mixed precipitation and rain for New York, and it moves out into Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. So, yeah. So, you can see this we have some moisture right here that's bringing rain right here into the Gulf, the Caribbean, and stuff. And you can see that little boundary right here combines with it. And, yeah, and you can see it just moves out. And you can also see right here in this frame, we have very, 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 very heavy rain. However, it's not impacting any areas besides a little bit of Florida. And yeah, and as you can see, it just moves out when it pretty much it just moves out. You can see all these storms are moving out into pretty much Africa. but you can't really know. We can't really tell where Africa really is, but as you can see, we have more storms just building up, and these storms are coming from the west coast. And that's why we have this major flooding risk in the west coast, because there are just multiple storms that are coming from the rivers in the west coast, and then it's just making them into storms, causing multi storms in the US. So you can see right here, you can also see right here in this frame, right here, we have a 983 low pressure millibar system that is bringing very heavy rain and very heavy snow into Northern California. And yeah, that's very rare in California, getting heavy snow there. I don't really know if, like, Southern California gets snow, but but we do know that Northern California is currently getting snow on. So anyways, let's go ahead. You can see right here, there's probably going to be a little margin. There's probably going to be a possible marginal risk for Florida. I don't really know though, because look at this. We have a 1011 low pressure millibar system, which is definitely something. And you can also see in the north, we have some little flurries and stuff into Canada, and it's kind of moving, around the north, and we have this very high pressure system that's bringing some cold air into the northeast and into Canada. So yeah, but in the south, it's very concerning because there is a potential flooding risk for the south of the U.S. because of all these storms that are hitting the west coast and then just moving into the south, because it can't hit the north because the north is all cold and stuff and just getting all this snow. So obviously these warmer storms can't get to the northeast because obviously it's cold, and then the storms will just weaken because of, because you can see in the south it's all warm and hot, and it's just, and yeah. So anyways, let's go ahead and move this forward. You can see that storm in Florida moving out into Africa, and you can see right here in this frame, this mixed precipitation storm, it forms with rain, and then it combines with that storm. Now that is pretty something. However, it already moved out, so no need to worry about that one. But let's just take a quick look at this. Like, look at that. Like, if it was hitting the U.S. somewhere, then there would have been a potentially heavy rain flooding risk for whatever area it was going to be hit by. But anyways, and you can also see we have some snow in, Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts, Vermont. Well, we have some heavy rain into Long Island and Rhode Island. So, yeah. So anyways, let's go ahead and move this forward more. You can see another storm builds up into the central US, and you can see it also combines with some snow. Now, now this is the mixed precipitation storm that I saw in this frame that will be hitting one day Virginia, Maryland, and the DC District of Columbia. Well, there's going to be heavy rain in this side, on the left side right here, into, the Ohio Valley and stuff. So all these storms that are hitting the whole US is all coming from the West Coast. So let's go ahead and move this out, and you can see at the end of it, the storm kind of weakens as it heads into the Carolinas. Now that's because there's this warm air area right here, this red right here into the Carolinas, causing the storm, the mixed precipitation, to all, weaken out on this frame. You see all the mixed precipitation is gone, and it's just some rain, and it just moves out. But you can also see on this, on the last few frames, you can see right here, when it moves out, there's some rain that forms. However, it's only in the rivers, so it's in coastal areas. And you can see on this last frame here, this is the very last frame. We have a high pressure system of cold air into Canada, and we also have this very, very heavy rainstorm right here, that is in the river of the West Coast. Now, that is a very concerning storm, if you ask me, because look at all this yellow and orange, and potentially some reds. Yeah, that is pretty concerning for the West Coast, if it actually makes landfall into the West Coast. Well, I'm pretty sure it will. And we also have some more storms right here with mixed precipitation, snow and rain, into right here. This one, it's like it's trying to combine with it into a little bit of Washington, California, Oregon, and into Montana into Montana. So that's pretty much the weather pattern for the whole U.S. Storms in the West Coast, and hitting pretty much the whole U.S. and then moving out into Africa. So that's pretty much the entire pattern to the weather, pretty much, for the next, couple weeks. Because as you can see, this is on New Year's Eve. So you can see Friday, December 31st. So, yeah. So that's pretty much what's going to happen for the next quite a few weeks. So, yeah. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. That's the weather pattern. Storms in West Coast, hitting all the U.S., and moving out into Africa. So, yeah. So that's the weather pattern for you. Hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I'll see you in the next one.